So we're back on the floor because guess what? I have a book haul. Hello everyone, I'm Rosa, welcome. So I have like 5 stacks of books next to me that we're gonna go through. I'm actually just gonna, hold on. I'm gonna film it, put in some footage so that you can see. Ignore the, just ignore the trash in the background. No Christmas presents and stuff. I wasn't lying. 5 stacks of books. We got 46 books in total to go through today. I was going for a 70 book haul, but, or a 70 books book haul. I don't know. But, I decided to split it up into 2 just because the last one I did was so insanely long. It was an hour. So let's not talk about it. So hopefully today's will be a little bit shorter. But for it to be shorter, we gotta get started, get this show on the road. So let's start with some young adult fantasy. Yeah. So the first book I have to show you is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, which came out in September, October? I don't remember. If you have read Caraval, you might want to look into this one because it includes everyone's favorite fate, Jax, and also Evangeline, who I don't really know. Basically in this book, we follow Evangeline mainly, I think. She is in love with someone who's about to be married and she does not want him to be married to someone else. She wants this guy, so what she does is she makes a deal with Jax in return for 3 kisses so that she can get her man. And I don't know where this is gonna go because Jax is very hard to read. So I'm super excited to read this one. I feel like it might possibly be a 5-star. Jax was one of my favorite characters, if not my actual favorite character in the Caraval trilogy that I loved. So I have high hopes for this one and everyone seems to be loving it so far. So hopefully, maybe December, we will see, but looking forward to reading this at some point. Next up, we have Gilded Cage, or The Gilded Cage, by Lynette Noni, which is the sequel to The Prison Healer. I think it's actually not going to be a duology. I think it's supposed to be a trilogy. I've read neither of the books. I know, it's fine. Like, look at the cover. How could I not? But as far as I remember, in The Prison Healer, we follow a girl who works at a prison. I'm assuming she's a healer at the prison. And one day, they get a prisoner who is, I think they aren't who they are saying they are, but I don't really know. And suddenly some people are breaking into the prison as well and there's a dude and it's all going down and I don't really know where we're gonna go from there, but I'm looking forward to reading it at some point because people seem to really be loving these books. They seem to be my vibe as well. And also I think The Prison Healer, the first one was actually blurbed by Sarah J. Maas and I'm a trash for Maas, so I'm a trash. Yeah, let's just go with it. It's fine. Moving on. Oh, I should probably have said, I like to give genres when I'm doing book hauls. So this is young adult, romance, magic. Yes, let's leave it at that. And also young adult, romance, magic. So yup. Then we have Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson or Marjorie. I don't know how to pronounce names at all. It's a thing. It's fine. Hopefully it's not disrespectful. I'm Danish. Okay, I'm excused. But in Vespertine we follow this girl whose name I've forgotten, but she is a Grey sister, or are they called Grey Sisters? They are called Grey Sisters, and she's basically at this like almost like a nunnery, but not a nunnery, a fantasy version of a nunnery where they train to be Vespertines. And one day I think the nunnery is attacked. Convent. Let's call it a convent because that's what it says in the synopsis. We're fine. But one day her convent is attacked by soldiers of some sort, and to save and defend her convent, this girl right here summons a revenant, a very deadly spirit that she's not really equipped to control because Vespertines are supposed to do that. So one thing leads to another and we got some trouble on our hands. I'm looking forward to this one. I think I'm planning on reading it this month actually because it seems like a good fall read and we're still in fall. Well, it's still fall, right? I don't know, we'll see. We'll read it soon. Okay. And also this is young adult, paranormal, magic, ghosts, spirits, fantasy. Yep. Next up we have a special book which is, it's like shining in my iPad with my notes. It's The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, and this is the special edition from, or the special edition copy from the Illumicrate special edition. There we go. It's super shiny, as you have probably noticed. I've not actually read the synopsis for this one because I kind of want to go into it sort of almost blind. The only thing I know is that we follow Celia, who's right over here. This is Celia, and she's going to a circus who? What? It arrives out of the blue, and when the morning comes or something, it's gone. As it says, the night circus arrives without warning, no announcements preceded, it is simply there when yesterday it was not. So I don't want to read too much into this. I think everyone, or read too much into it. I don't want to read too much about it. I've been avoiding like any kind of spoilers or any kind of pointers whatsoever. I just want to go into it blind, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be an awesome December read. It is fantasy, young adult, romance, apparently some historical fiction in it, which I don't really know about. Magic, of course, and it's also a standalone. But yeah, I am quite liking this special edition from Illumicrate that I got last month, I think, or 2 months ago maybe. I'm just looking forward to going into it. So next up, we have a book that I received this week. Actually, I picked it up yesterday. It's All of Us Villains by Amanda Foody and Christine Lynn Herman. This copy is super cool because it actually has, like, I think it's standard, but it has the hands from the cover on the naked hardback, which I'm kind of liking. Wait, I should show you the hardbacks. For the Night Circus, I know that we already got past it, but like, look. It has silver embossing on the, or foiling on the hardback. I love that on the naked cover, and it also has a quote right here. It's gorgeous. She is gorgeous. But the other three don't really have anything on them. Anyway, so this book is about magician families that every blood moon? Every blood moon, there's sort of Hunger Games for these magician families. Let's put it like that. So they have to compete, and either you survive or you don't. But also, this year, there's been a tell-all book or article or something released so that before going into this tournament, they know each other's secrets and stuff. I know I'm not doing this synopsis justice whatsoever. I'm just gonna read out loud the synopsis because honestly, this is much better. Every generation at the coming of the blood moon, 7 families in the remote city of Ilvernath each name a champion to compete in a secret tournament to the death. The prize? Exclusive control over a secret wellspring of high magic, the most powerful resource in the world, one thought long depleted. But this year, a salacious tell-all book has exposed the tournament and thrust the 7 new champions into the worldwide spotlight. The book also granted them valuable information previous champions never had, insight into the other families' strategies, secrets, and weaknesses. And most important, it gave them a choice: accept their fate or rewrite their legacy. Either way, this is a story that must be penned in blood. I saw the synopsis and the cover was kind of like drawing me in as well. I don't know, I just really like it. You can probably see it has like a little bit of gold here and there as well. I just really, yes, I'm looking forward to this one so much. It seems a little bit dark and I'm here for the vibe. So, but this is young adult fantasy magic. Apparently we are queer rep in there too, as far as I read, so I'm counting it, like Goodreads told me. And I believe it's the start of a series as well, so All of Us Villains. Next up, we have a book that I don't know the synopsis of, but it was on sale. I just completely butchered that sentence. Wow. But it is Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard, and I don't know the synopsis. Give me a second. Okay, it's about a chosen girl who has to stop a man from ruining the country or ruining the kingdom. Breaking down the kingdom? Destroying the kingdom. There we go. That was the word I was looking for. So she gathers a little crew. I'm sure that some of them don't like each other, so there's gonna be some banter in there or something, but they have to stop this dude from destroying the kingdom. That's Realm Breaker, and it's the start of a series. She's thick AF. I still have Red Queen and I've still not read it. I've had it for 5 years, still not read it. 5.5 to be exact. Still not read it, so, but this was on sale. I have zero self-control, okay? Anyway, this is young adult fantasy with adventure, magic, and seemingly also something that resembles pirates, which is great. I love a good adventure book. So I'm looking forward to this. Yes. Next up, we have a sequel to a book that I'm currently reading, and that is Kingdom of the Cursed, the sequel to Kingdom of the Wicked by Karen Maniscalco. So Kingdom of the Wicked is about, what is her name? Emilia? Wow, I'm currently this is like record. I have already forgot. What? Okay, anyway. But we follow Emilia, who has a twin, Vittoria, that one day turns up dead, or more like Emilia finds her dead. And this happens after there's been a couple of murders in the city that Emilia lives in. So to solve the murders, she has to team up with one of the deadly sins called Wrath. And there's a lot of, it's like a murder mystery, but paranormal with deadly sins and handsome men, yes, and magic. So I'm loving it so far. I'm looking forward to going into this one as well. I love the vibe of the book. It's so dark and yes. But anyway, young adult fantasy, romance, and paranormal vibes. And I would say mystery as well, but that's the vibe I'm getting from this. So yes, Kingdom of the Cursed. Next up, we have a book that I read in October, but I'm gonna include it in this haul anyway, just in case you did not watch any of my October videos, which is fine, by the way. But that is Leg's Edge by Lindell Clipstone. In this one, we follow Violetta and her brother, whose name I've forgotten. They're orphans, but they live with a woman who's not the kindest. Yes. And in this city, there's a lord. Like, you know how every city back in the day had a lord or something? I don't know how it worked. It's fine. And he's known to be a monster who killed his family. However, one day, he makes a deal with Violetta's brother because he needs his powers. Violetta's brother's powers to solve something that's going on at the house that he lives in, which the house, by the way, is also supposed to be haunted. I'm just saying. At least Violetta is convinced that it's haunted. So they go off to this mansion and stuff. It might turn, Violetta might be wrong about him being a monster. That's not a spoiler, it's in the synopsis. Anyway, this is young adult, fantasy, magic, gothic, and also, did I miss something? Oh, horror vibes. First in a series. I don't know how many books. It's also a debut, so congratulations to Lindell Clipstone. And also the cover is beautiful. If you want to know what I thought about it, you can check my October wrap-up, by the way, because I did read it, and we're not talking opinions today. Then we have another book that I don't really know the plot of whatsoever. I just bought it on a whim. I know that happens sometimes. And I have no idea how to pronounce the author's last name, so this is gonna be fun. But that is The Scorpio Races by Maggie Stiefvater? Vader? No, I have no idea. It has an award on it, so something tells me that this is gonna be a good book. That's all I got. I'm gonna read the synopsis. Some race to win, others race to survive. It happens at the start of every November, the Scorpio races. Riders attempt to keep hold of their water horses long enough to make it to the finish line. Some riders live, others die. At age 19, Sean Kendrick is the returning champion. He is a young man of few words, and if he has any fears, he keeps them buried deep where no one else can see them. Puck Connolly is different. She never meant to ride in the Scorpio races, but fate hasn't given her much of a choice. So she enters the competition, the first girl ever to do so. She is in no way prepared for what is going to happen. Sounds dark. Is this another tournament kind of thing? Like another, it sounds like it. I'm loving that. Hunger Games was such a good book, so give me more of that, please. I know that sounds kind of morbid, but I'm here for that, okay? Don't judge me. I'm here for it. Anyway, The Scorpio Races by Maggie. Yes. Young adult, fantasy, romance, mythology apparently, and also a standalone. So I really want to read that one like soonish, I think. So we'll see. Maybe December? Maybe. Then we have Jade Fire. Whoa, I almost hit myself in my face with the book. Okay, Jade Fire Gold by June C.L. Tan. This is also a debut, by the way, before I forget to say it. But we follow two characters. One is a guy, one is a girl. The guy is apparently royalty, but he has had to flee when he was younger. And the girl, I'm not really sure who she's supposed to be. She's no one. She's no one. She's a found child who has no memories of her past. Well, that sucks. I'm so sorry. Anyway, their paths cross and their destinies are intertwined and stuff happens. It sounds very interesting. It's the best word I can explain, or I can say. I was so surprised when I took off the dust jacket because it's so yellow. Like, I love this color. Or I don't love it. I love it on a book for some reason. It just looks cute. I really wasn't expecting it though. I thought it would be like green or something. But this is young adult fantasy. I think it also has some mythology in there. Romance as well. Possibly the start of a series. I think it is the start of a series. And as far as Goodreads told me, there's also queer rep in this one as well. Although not among the main characters. I think it's two girl side characters. I think. So, but this looks super interesting. Looking forward to it. Also, the cover is like gorgeous. I love that. I love the style. Yes. That was one stack of books down. 4 to go. Next one is one that I'm actually really excited for. I thought it would be thinner than this, but I'm not complaining about it because I'm looking forward to reading this so much. It is Gilded by Marissa Mayer. As far as I've understood, this is a Rumpelstiltskin retelling. So I haven't actually gone into the plot so much. If you can hear a noise in the background, it's because my neighbors are banging on the wall for some reason. And when I said that, they stopped. Can they hear me? Let's not overthink that. But I'm gonna read the synopsis because I haven't read it yet. Long ago, cursed by the god of lies, a miller's daughter has developed a talent for spinning stories that are fantastical and spellbinding and entirely untrue. Or so everyone believes. Ooh. Okay. When one of Cyrilda's outlandish tales draws the attention of the sinister Earl King and his undead hunters, she finds herself swept away into a grim world where ghouls and phantoms prowl the earth, and hollow-eyed ravens track her every move. The king orders Cyrilda to complete the impossible task of spinning straw into gold, or be killed for telling falsehoods. In her desperation, Cyrilda unwittingly summons a mysterious boy to her aid. He agrees to help her for a prize. Soon Cyrilda realizes that there is more than one secret hidden in the castle walls, including an ancient curse that must be broken if she hopes to end the tyranny of the king and his wild hunt forever. Sounds awesome! And I think this is the start of a series as well. I don't know, when I say series, it could be either duology, trilogy, or more than that. I have literally no clue because they don't announce that amount of books beforehand. But I'm looking forward to this so much. I enjoyed Marissa Mayer's Heartless so much. It didn't make me cry, but it made me tear up, which doesn't happen very often. So her writing clearly worked on me, and I'm looking forward to this retelling quite a lot as well. Also because Rumpelstiltskin is awesome. At least he was in, okay, debatable. But isn't he a villain? Anyway, that's fine. Gotta root for the villain now and then, right? Okay. But he was awesome in Once Upon a Time. Yes. Next up, we have a duology, and that is The Wrath and the Dawn and The Rose and the Dagger. So sorry for that confusement. We're good. And these are by Renee Ahdieh. I've heard both good and bad things about these, but I have a feeling, as a sucker for a good enemies to lovers, I have a feeling that I'm gonna like these ones quite a lot. So that's also why I bought both of them instead of just the first one to see, like, to test it out. But these are a retelling of a story called 1001 Nights, I think. Oh, correct me if I'm wrong. But basically, we follow the lead girl whose sister, or best friend, has been killed by the king. Because, you know, basically the story is that the king has to marry someone. Is it every day or something? Anyway, he kills all his wives. And her best friend has been the victim in that whole... Yes. So what she does is she ends up marrying him with the goal to kill him. And I'm pretty sure it doesn't end up that way. I don't know, an inclination. But it sounds like a good ride. So I'm looking forward to this at some point. Enemies to Lovers is... yes. I don't know what it is. Is the fact that I'm so obsessed with Enemies to Lovers a sign that I should go to therapy? It might be. I'm not really sure. Anyway, so these are young adult fantasy retelling romance enemies to lovers. I actually forgot to say it for Gilded, but Gilded is retelling romance and the first in a series. And young adult and fantasy, of course. We have another retelling. I wonder, did she line them up after each other? When I say she, I mean me. But did I line them up after each other like this so we could do all the retellings after one another? Most definitely yes. At least until the end. The next one is Defy the Night by Bridget Kemmerer, and this is, as far as I've understood, a Robin Hood retelling, which is exciting because you honestly don't see that very often. So this book takes place in a world that is crumbling, I think. Some politics in there. I don't think the world is doing that great. There's a sickness spreading as well, and there's only one. You can probably see it on the outline, like here. There's a flower that can kind of cure people that are sick with this illness, but either just the king or the rich, including the king, are kind of holding on to this flower so people are not cured. But of course, our lead girl has a plan to change that, and that's where the Robin Hood aspect comes in, I think. I have still not read a Bridget Kemmerer book, but I'm really drawn to this story, so also because it's Robin Hood instead of the next one we're talking about is Beauty and the Beast. But there's not a lot of Robin Hood retellings out there, so I'm super excited for this. I'm drawn to the cover both because of this holographic effect, but also because it's purple. Purple is my favorite color, so I was just, you know, I know that's a very stupid reason to justify buying a book. It was purple, okay? But drawn to the plot as well, so there you go. This is young adult fantasy retelling. Romance, I'm guessing, and I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Then we have a trilogy also by Bridget Kemmerer, a trilogy that I believe was finalized I don't know how to say that. Recently, and that is A Curse So Dark and Lonely, A Heart So Fierce and Broken, and A Vow So Bold and Deadly. Also by Bridget Kimmerer. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Like I said before, I'm just gonna hold up the first one because they're a little bit heavy. So let's just do it like this. Anywho, in this retelling, we follow Prince Ren and Harper. Prince Ren and Harper. Prince Ren is destined, or not destined, cursed to repeat his 18th autumn over and over. He turns into a beast and kills people unwillingly. He's not here for it. He doesn't want to, just to point that out. And apparently he's looking for a girl. Well, I think he's hopeless, but the way to end the curse, it says in the synopsis, is to have a girl fall in love with him. I think he's just really like down in the dumps and has probably given up hope. So enter Harper, our lead girl. Who is she? Wait, it's urban fantasy? Enter Harper, who is a girl who has cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy. Cerebral is a hard word for me to say. I don't know why, but she has cerebral palsy. She has lost her father, or at least he's gone missing. I'm not really sure about that one. It doesn't say that he's deceased. It just says that he's long gone. And her mother is dying. And suddenly one day in Washington, D.C., she is pulled into a magical world. I'm guessing that she's supposed to meet Prince Ren at some point. So, you know, I'm looking forward to this because it's Beauty and the Beast retelling, which is basically the OG enemies to lovers with some Stockholm syndrome in there. But anyway, and yes, I'm here for it. I'm a little bit worried if I'll like the other two. Like, I think I'll love the first one, but I'm worried if I'll like the other one. I think I heard bad things about the third one especially, so it's good that everyone is entitled to different opinions. So even if others didn't like it, I'm just gonna show you the hardcovers because, or the naked covers, because they have a little bit of foiling on them. So on the third one, it looks like this. There's a crown in the middle. I'm not gonna question why. Let's just pretend like we do not see it. The second one has a little tiny crown, which is super cute. And the first one has nothing. So that's weird, but okay. These are young adult, fantasy, retelling, romance, magic, curses. What else? Did I miss something? So that is a heart so wait, what's it? A curse so dark and lonely. And a heart so broken it's something. I was really confused about the second book. Just ignore that. It didn't happen. Okay? It didn't happen. Next up is a sequel. I have these books or on my Kindle. Well, 1 to 3. I've read the first 2, which includes this one. But it's A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir. It's the second one in the Ember Quartet, the first one being An Ember in the Ashes. I don't have that as a physical copy. I bought this solely because I thought that it was going to be the copy with the people on it. It's like the white with the 2 people on it instead of this one because I really don't like this cover. I bought it used. I ordered it because, you know, finding English books used in Denmark is really difficult. And it turned out to not be that cover. So now I'm stuck with this. But that's okay. You know, we're okay with it. I've read the first 2 books. I don't remember them because it's been such a long time. So I'm gonna check up on the synopsis before I accidentally spoil anything from the second book because that would be typical. Or not typical, I've never done that, but I just want to make sure that I don't mix the 2 together, if that makes sense. You follow Leia and Elias, and Leia is basically a slave. It's said that the kingdom is, or the world is inspired by ancient Rome. Yes, ancient Rome. So Leia lives with her family, which includes her brother, and Elias is a soldier, but he's not really into this whole soldier thing. And one day, Leia's older brother is taken prisoner, and Leia, or is it Leia? Oh no, I think Leia sounds better. I'm gonna change it to Leia. She's not having it, so she teams up with Elias, and basically, essentially, I think they want to take down the whole tyranny thing in this world. So yes, but this is the second one. I'm gonna still find the other ones, the white covers with the people on them instead, because I just like those better. Actually, if I could really choose, I would want the one with the animals on them because, oh my gosh, yes. But I can only find them as paperbacks. They're gorgeous though, like they're beautiful, but I can only find them as paperbacks, unfortunately. But these are young adult fantasy, romance, magic, sand. I feel like I just remember there being a lot of sand. I don't know, it's a really good series. So having only read, I actually stopped reading the second one at 95%. I think I just arrived in Denmark at the airport or something, and I just never got around to reading the last 5%, and I hate myself for it because who stops reading at 95%? Who does that? What? Me, apparently. Great. Anyway, let's move on. I have another used book, which is Hunted by Megan Spooner, another Beauty and the Beast retelling. But in this one, we follow a, at first, privileged family that includes our lead girl, whose name is Yeva. Yeva. However, suddenly their family is not doing so good economically. The rest of the family hates this, but Yeva is actually like, oh, this is the time of my life. I can go hunting again in the woods. Yes. So she does, and she comes across a beast that she hunts or like chases back to where it came from, which is a haunted castle and the cursed woods and stuff, and I don't know, I'm looking forward to this. This one and possibly also A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole will both be December buddy reads over on my book club, so if you want to join for that ride, there's a link in the description box, but I'm looking forward to this one. It was recommended to me by one of my friends, and we love a Beauty and the Beast retelling, especially when it doesn't include Stockholm Syndrome, so yeah. No shade. No shade whatsoever. Then we have Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin or Kaylin? I think it's Kaylin Barron? Oh my gosh. Kaylin Barron. I'm getting tongue-tied here. What the heck? Anyway, this takes place, I think 200 years after Cinderella found her prince. Not priest. What's going on? Cinderella found her prince. Okay, so we're in the same kind of world, universe where Cinderella was. And in this world, every girl, every day has to recite the story of Cinderella. There's also a ball. The girl here, our lead girl, is going to this ball to win over the prince. I think the ones that aren't chosen by the prince are basically just like, but you know, anyway. And she really doesn't want to go because the girl that she's actually more or less in love with, or at least heavily crushing on, I'm guessing, is also going, and you know, do the math. Yep. I'm hoping that she takes this whole society thing down for her own sake and everyone else's, because honestly reciting the same story every day sounds terrible. But I'm looking forward to this one, and also she looks badass, like with the blood on her cheek, and like she looks like she's been fighting, and I love that vibe. And also Cinderella retelling sounds cool. This is young adult fantasy retelling romance queer rep, and it's a standalone. I forgot to say this is also young adult fantasy romance retelling and also standalone. And then we have one more book in my young adult fantasy section of this video, and that is Graceling. You can't even see that. Okay. Graceling by Kristen Kishore. Oh gosh. Graceling. How do I summarize this? We follow Katza, who lives in a world where people with powers, also called grace, are highly feared. And her grace, so her power is the grace of killing as well. So that just kind of makes it worse, I feel. Anyway, one day she comes across, or she starts investigating the mysterious disappearance of an old man. And seemingly she's also been finding a younger man with grace as well at the site of the investigation, but it doesn't really say so. Who was the extraordinary graced man whose fighting abilities rivaled her own? You know, that sounds a bit like, yeah, it sounds a bit like she's been fighting with someone at the scene of the crime or something. I don't really know. Anyway, sounds like a mystery with abilities. Super cool. Specifically, what is her ability other than just killing? Because technically can't everyone do that? Are we going into morbid territory? I mean, I wouldn't do it ever, but technically can't everyone do that? So I'm looking forward to this. It says the only thing Katza is sure of is that she no longer wants to kill. Does that mean she wanted to kill at some point? Katza, what's going on here? Anyway, this is the first in a series of companion novels. So far, I think there are 4. I think it's Fire, Bitterling, Winterkeep, and I think because the Winterkeep is the newest one, I think she might continue making some of them. I don't really know, but I really want to get into the series, so I decided to pick it up recently in Copenhagen. Love the cover as well. I think it's a special 10-year anniversary thing or something. I'm not really sure, but she's beautiful anyway, so yeah. Graceling by Kristen Kishore. I probably did not do that synopsis justice, but honestly, I read the back a week ago and I'm having issues remembering because there's quite a lot of stuff on it. So we're going into young adult sci-fi, and we're starting out with Iron Widow by Siran J. Sao. Yes. And this is very, very hard to summarize. Basically, we follow our lead girl who lives in a world where women are they're included in a program that has something to do with flying like mechanical, not birds, but like suits that you have to wear or something like that. I'm not suits. I can show you because I hope I can show you. I can't really show you, never mind. But they're like these mechanical things that they have to pilot and stuff. So it's piloted by a man and a woman, and the woman is almost always at least, she's expected to die from flying this mechanical thing. Yes. Hence the sci-fi aspect to it. Some of these I should probably say are a bit Like, actually no, the rest are pretty much sci-fi. This might be like slightly fantasy as well. Anyway, so her sister signed up to this program, or signed up for it, or was just drawn into it. I don't really know. We'll see. And she passed away, as was expected, unfortunately. However, our lead girl is not having that. She's pissed off. So she wants revenge on... Is it the pilot? Yeah, she wants revenge on the pilot who was flying with her sister on that day. So she goes into the program, she actually survives and becomes an Iron Widow, and her goals change. Suddenly it's not just about revenge for her sister, she wants to take down this whole system, program, so on and so on. Feminist vibes, yes. Okay, anyway, got me all riled up. So this is fantasy sci-fi, I want to say, young adult, but also historical fiction kind of. As far as I've understood, it's the start of a series, and we also have, oh my gosh, what's it called when it's more than two people? But no, that's monogamy. That's two people. Polyamorous relationship. There you go. English words. Okay. We have a polyamorous relationship in this book. This is the Illumicrate edition that came with the October box, I think. It has gold embossing on the hardcover, which is beautiful. It looks like a phoenix, right? So they're like flying phoenixes. I don't know how that works, but I'm looking forward to figuring it out. Also, the cover, I'm so happy they didn't change it, to be honest, because this cover is just stunning. And there's also art on the inside of the dust jacket, which looks like this. We got our lead girl and our lead boys, I think. So, yay. Looking good in those suits. Yep. Looking good in those suits. Wait, why is one of them wearing not a suit? I don't know what that's about. Anyway. But I have heard so freaking many good things about this book. So, and also, can we just appreciate the author is standing in a cow suit in her picture? And I love that. Next up, we have another trilogy, and this is the Aurora Cycle by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. And I got all 3 books. The last one came out at the start of November the 9th, something like that. Date's not really important, is it? Anyway, in this book, or in this trilogy, at least in the first one, we follow Aurora, who, as far as I've understood, has been asleep for a very, very long time. The whole squad is on the back of the book, I just noticed. It's a squad story. I don't remember anymore. Hold on. Oh, she's been asleep for 2 centuries. I would argue and say that's also a very long time to be asleep. 2 centuries is 200 years, right? Yes. Did I say 1,000 years? It's fine. 200, 1,000. What's the difference? There's a squad forming at the academy, cadet academy or something, with misfits, and there's a war brewing, so you know. Plus it's space, which is cool. And I love the covers, which is important. Oh, you can't see this. Like, look at this dude. I don't know who he is, but I love him. He has pointy ears. What's not to love? So this is young adult sci-fi, space, adventure, a little bit of romance. Did not do that synopsis justice whatsoever. But it sounds like misfits, like a squad of misfits gives me Six of Crows vibes. And I love that. So yes. But it's in space instead, and it's not a heist. We'll see what it is. And then we have another trilogy, and this one is by Marissa Mayer, and it's the Renegades trilogy. In these we follow superheroes, I think, which, in case you did not know, like, I'm a sucker for superheroes. The Renegades are basically a group of superheroes who uphold the peace in a otherwise crumbling society, I think. Of course, they're hated by the villains that they've overthrown, but, you know, everyone has enemies, right? And we follow Nova, whose allegiance is apparently not with the heroes, but with a villain. And there's a dude, I think, or something. I'm just looking forward to it, because, you know, superheroes. I have not done this synopsis justice either, but superheroes! Okay, superheroes. Which sounds interesting. I got all 3 because they came in a box set. I actually ordered them thinking they were going to be hardbacks, and then they weren't. Thinking they were going to be hardbacks because it said so in the listing on Book Depository, so I wrote them saying that they'd made a mistake and they refunded my order and told me that I could keep the books. So now I have them. I don't know, I just have them. But also, they're really nice paperbacks, like, ooh, what? This is great, you know, this is great. I can open this like this with no issues. So anyway, superheroes, villains, sci-fi, powers. Oh, and this is sci-fi, romance, dystopia, and superheroes. I gotta like calm down a little bit. I feel like I've gone into hyper mode where I've just been talking for so long that I'm happy. So I need to like calm down. It definitely does not help that we're talking about all my new books. Like, of course that would make me happy, you know? Of course that would make me happy. And then the last one of my young adult sci-fi books that I hauled this time. I already have the second and the third one incoming. But that is Sky Award by Brandon Sanderson. This is the UK cover. You might have seen another one with Spencer on it, or Spencer on it. On the cover's like purple and stuff. But anyway, love these covers. Beautiful. Gorgeous. But in this one, we follow Spencer, who is, I'm just gonna call it Spencer. I don't know, Spencer. Yeah. Who lives in a world that is constantly being attacked by Krell. They're aliens. As you can see, like I think they're attacking through this situation on the cover. And the only way that humanity can fight back is by flying into the air and fighting them in space. So Spencer really wants to be a part of that. She really wants to be a pilot. However, her dad, as far as I know, died and did not have the best reputation, so Spencer is kind of looked down upon because of that, so her chances of becoming a pilot are pretty slim. But then the Krell kind of tunes up their attacks on humanity, and suddenly Spencer gets her chance to fight back and also become a pilot. And I'm here for that. I felt like I needed to, because I really want to read some Brandon Sanderson, and I felt like the best way to kind of ease into it was by going for, first of all, this is sci-fi instead of like full-on high fantasy, and it's also young adult instead of adult. So I thought Sky Award was probably the best way to go about it. It has nothing to do with the Cosmere universe, whatever that's, however you say that. It's got nothing to do with that, but I like to ease into his writing style, so I decided to go for Sky Award first, and I'm looking forward to this because I've heard so many good things about it. And the cover's beautiful. There's absolutely nothing on the hardback, nothing on the naked cover whatsoever. I'm going to show you the ones where there is. We have a couple more left, just a couple more hardcovers left. So, but yeah, Sky Award. So that was my last one of the like fantasy and sci-fi young adult books I have. I still have some contemporary books, but now we're moving into adult fantasy and sci-fi. So we have the first book in my adult fantasy sci-fi, and that is The Midnight Library. This is more, I don't know if I call it full-on fantasy, more like magical realism, but we follow, is it a man or a woman? Nora, who is going through some tough times. And how do we go about this? She kind of doesn't want to go through these tough times anymore, so on her last day on Earth, at midnight, she's teleported into a library where she's basically given the opportunity to go through like different versions of her life, like if she'd made different choices and stuff, and it's pretty heavy subjects, but I've heard a lot of good things about this book, so I really wanted to check it out. It's by Matt Haig, by the way. I should have said that when I started talking about it, I just forgot. But yeah, some pretty heavy subjects, but I really wanted to try this out. See what I personally think about this. Oh, there's a little cat. Why is there a cat? There's a cat here. Is there a cat in the library? There's a cat on the cover, filled with warmth and humor. So anyway, yes, this is contemporary magical realism, and it's also a standalone. So next up, I have the sequel, or the second and third book in the Poppy War trilogy that I'm still not really sure on how to summarize, but we follow our lead girl, Rin, who is, who took a test to get into, the book literally starts out saying, take her clothes off. So I say that, so I think she's taking a test very early on in the book, and it requires her to take her clothes off. Anyway, I don't know why I remember that. But we follow Rin, who took a test to get into the academy, and she got past it without cheating, although a lot of people seem to think that she's cheating. But she's also dealing with a lot of prejudice because she's a darker skinned girl in, I believe, what's supposed to be like a, I don't know if it's actually full-on historical fiction, so it's supposed to be an actual place, or if it's, I don't know, because I haven't read that. I haven't read it yet, so I wouldn't know. I'll figure it out. But anyway, she gets into the academy, but she's having a hard time because of prejudice and sucky people. Yes. And there's a war brewing, and Rin has powers, and some anti-heroes and stuff. That's all I know. That's all I've heard. I just really am interested in reading this. I know that I bought the second and third book because I know that I'll love the first one, because it sounds like my kind of vibe, you know? But I don't know how to summarize it because I haven't read it yet. So, you know, that's on me. Anyway. But these are, as far as I've understood, adult fantasy, historical fiction. All those also, I'm not really like high fantasy possibly, and badassery. Oh, and also magic. I should probably not forget about magic. Yeah. And then we have another book that I believe is also at least inspired by Chinese history because of the cover. And that is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan, who is a rebel warrior hero. Cool. Is this slightly inspired by Mulan? No. Is it? Is it Mulan meets something else? I'm gonna read out loud the synopsis. Can she outwit her destiny and rise as high as she can dream? In a famine-stricken village on a dusty yellow plain, a seer shows two children their fates. For the boy, greatness. For the girl, nothing. Nothingness. Yes. In 1345, China lies under harsh Mongol rule. For the starving peasants of the Central Plains, greatness is only found in stories. The Shu family is mystified as to how Shu Chongba, their 8th-born son, will achieve his lofty future. But for a daughter, no matter how clever or capable, an early death would be no surprise. Yet when a bandit attack orphans the two children, it's Shu Chongba who dies. So not the daughter, but the son. Okay. Desperate to survive, his sister steals his identity to enter a monastery. There, disguised as a male novice, Shu learns she can be ruthless to avoid her fate. But when her sanctuary is destroyed, Shu is cast back into the war-torn world. To change her ending, there's only one thing she can do: claim her brother's great destiny as her own. So it is kind of Mulan. I'm sorry, my book is creaking. I don't know what that was. And it's kind of Mulan inspired, I feel. But some historical fiction in there too. I hadn't actually read the synopsis before and it just hit me when I read it. I don't know how I just not read the synopsis. But it sounds so good. I love Mulan. Mulan is my girl. She's my second most favorite Disney princess. She's apparently also the Disney princess who's killed the most. Which is not why I love her. I just want to point that out. Okay? It's because she's badass. But this is adult fantasy, but historical fiction. A debut, and I think the start of a series, and we also have queer rep in here as well. And this reminds me, I really want to buy the Jasmine Throne because there's a whole thing with the Jasmine Throne, the Unbroken, and this book. I really want the Jasmine Throne. Okay, but I'm looking forward to reading that one because the badassery. Okay, we love badass female protagonists that are strong. We love them. We love them so much. Next up, we have a special edition, a cute little book. This is adorable. It's The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. And this is the illustrated anniversary edition. And I love this edition so much. I showed it off in a vlog because there's a lot. Oh my gosh, my computer just turned on. Oh, that scared me so much. Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. It just sometimes turns on by itself. It's because it's in sleep state, not because it actually turns on by itself. It just wakes itself up, which I mean is natural. It's fine. Moving on. Okay, right, because there's a lot. First of all, it has stenciled edges right here, which are cute. It has embossing on the heart, well, foiling on the hardcover, on the naked cover. Cute. Also on the back, yes, it matches the flowers on the stenciled edges, but also there's flowers here and stuff. And we're not done yet. This is making a lot of noise. We're not done yet because it also has end papers that look like this, that freaking look like this. Like, cute. But also, it has art inside the book that you can't see because my arm is in the way. But it looks like this. And like this. And I'm desperate to show you all of it. And like this. And I love this edition so much. I have not read it yet, but I came across it just randomly. I swear I came across it randomly back in June. This wasn't released until October. I came across it back in June, saw it, and was like, I want that book, and now I wanted that edition. Specifically that edition. So I got it. I don't regret it because she's cute, she's small, compact, stenciled edges, sprayed edges, and I love book art. You guys know I love book art. So anyway, synopsis. In The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, we follow Addie LaRue, who 300 years ago entered a deal or made a deal with the devil so that she could live forever. However, she is constantly forgotten as well, as far as I've understood. She's only leaving like traces of herself as well, but constantly forgotten. One day though, in a bookstore, she meets Henry. And I think some stuff happens between Addie and Henry, and I think also suddenly she doesn't want to be forgotten, but I'm not really sure. Her life is about to restart though, as one's life does when you live forever. So it's about time to let go of Henry, but I have a feeling that she doesn't really want to. As Henry and Addie's lives start to intertwine, they must face the consequences of the decisions they've made and the prices to be paid. I've heard many good things about this book. I don't really know how to do the synopsis justice, but looking forward to this one quite a lot. I just need to read it. I just need to start reading it. But this is adult fantasy, historical fiction, romance, and also a standalone. And this copy is so cute. I had to do like 4 times because I kept messing it up, and also suddenly there are noises from the wall and stuff, so I had to redo that 4 times. It's fine. Next up we have the same book twice because I got this copy of Empire of the Vampire in my Lumicrate October box, and it's beautiful. And because it's beautiful, I didn't want to read it, but I really wanted to read it. I know. I just didn't want to read this version because it's too pretty. It's signed. It has this massive foiling on the naked cover. It also says all shall kneel. Like, I love this edition of the book. But since I couldn't get myself to read it because it's so pretty, and especially because I was afraid that I was gonna ruin the printed edges here, I also got the standard version. Yes, I have 2 versions of this book. It's fine. I've seen people who have it worse. This one also has, or not worse, who have more editions. If you want to buy multiple editions of the same book, go ahead. I'm not judging you whatsoever. But this also has foiling on the naked cover. This is De Leon's family crest. The other one was the Voss family crest, which I'm not gonna tell you what that means, or which I'm not gonna explain to you. That made sense. So in Empire of the Vampire, oh, by J. Christoph, by the way. In Empire of the Vampire, we follow Gabriel de Leon, who is a Silver Saint. So he's half human, half monster. And he's the last remaining Silver Saint. He is humanity's last hope against the vampires, because this starts 27 years after Day's death. So that means 27 years after the sun kind of stopped rising. There's still some sunlight, but it's not a lot. So like, we can still grow some crops, but vampires can walk in the sun basically because there's not a lot of sunlight. Yeah, it sucks for us. Okay, of course, you know, the vampires in this book are vile. Like, they are evil, massively evil. So we need Gabriel. Unfortunately for us, he's been imprisoned by the vampires. And while in prison, he is telling his story to Jean-Francois, who is a vampire. So basically this book is about how he starts out as a Silver Saint, how he's kind of introduced into the Brotherhood. There's also stuff about some wars and his personal life as well. And there's also stuff about the search for the Holy Grail, which will still be able to save humanity. And this is an awesome book. I did not do that synopsis justice whatsoever. I gave this book a 5 out of 5. I read it in October. If you want to hear me talk about it a little bit more, you can watch the wrap up because this was epic. Loved it. Loved every bit of it. But this is adult dark fantasy, paranormal. We got vampires in there. There's some horror aspects to this as well, and it is the start of a series. I think it's going to be a trilogy, but I could be wrong about that. But this is such a good book, so yes. And now I'm happy that I have the Illumicrate version because yes. Then we have one more adult fantasy slash sci-fi, and that is Jade City by Fonda Lee, shortlisted for the Locus and Nebula Awards. Oh, cool. Okay, I don't know what that means. But this, I believe, has something to do with crime families and stuff. I'm gonna read the synopsis because, yes, I'm gonna do that. Jade is the lifeblood of the city of Jianlun, a stone that enhances a warrior's natural strength and speed. It is mined, traded, stolen, and killed for, all controlled by 2 families equal in their power and ruthlessness. Ruthlessness? Ruthlessness. Okay. When a modern drug emerges that allows anyone, even foreigners, to wield jade, simmering tension between the 2 clans erupts into war. Open war. So we got crime families fighting because of jade. And so it's called Jade City. And this is a trilogy. The 3rd one is coming out next week, I think. I think it's called Jade Legacy or something. I've heard only good things about this as well. It sounds epic. So I needed something a little bit more adult sci-fi basically. So I picked this up when I was in, well, I picked it up when I was in Copenhagen. Unfortunately, I had to return it to the store literally the same day because there was a production error or something with the book, so I ended up ordering it instead. But now I still got it, so yes. But this is adult fantasy, sci-fi, magic, and crime families, and like I said, the first in a trilogy, so yeah. Now we're going into some historical fiction, I think, although this one, is this a historical fiction? Yeah, I think so. It is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. And honestly, I'm gonna read the synopsis on this one too because I don't think I can summarize it better than the synopsis does. So, for years, rumors of the Marsh Girl have haunted Barkley Cove, a quiet town on the North Carolina coast. So in late 1969, when handsome Chase Andrews is found dead, the locals immediately suspect Kaya Clark, the so-called Marsh Girl. Ow, my foot just cracked. But Kaya is not what they say. Sensitive and intelligent, she has survived for years alone in the marsh that she calls home, finding friends in the gulls and lessons in the sand. Then the time comes when she yearns to be loved. When 2 young men from town become intrigued by her wild beauty, Kaya opens herself to a new life until the unthinkable happens. It sounds, oh no, the unthinkable? Oh no, it's a murder mystery apparently. A coming of age narrative and a celebration of nature, and also a debut. And I've heard many lovely things about this. It is, I think it's adult. I'm not really sure. Might be a bit for everyone, but mystery, romance, and also a standalone, and supposed to be amazing. So I got that to look forward to. And I also picked up, which I believe is both historical fiction but also contemporary, so it might be in the wrong. Did I just scratch the back? I probably did. Dang it. It might be in the wrong category in this video, but it is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. And this is about two sisters, Stella and Desiree, who are identical twins growing up in a southern black community until at 16 they run away. And as far as I remember from last time I read the synopsis, one of them with her daughter? Hold on. One sister lives with her black daughter in the same southern town she once tried to escape, but the other one is passing as a white woman and her husband knows nothing of her past. But then I believe, yeah, the daughters' storylines intersect, like what's it called? The daughters meet each other, which is why it's both historical fiction but also contemporary. So it's over two, I don't know how it's written. Just want to point that out, but we got two timelines going on. And it's shortlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction in 2021, so I have also heard a lot of good things about this, which is why I picked it up. Don't know when I'll get to reading it, but I really, really want to. So we're going into some straight up contemporary books now. The first one being Not Here to Be Liked by Michelle Kwong, which is a young adult contemporary, I believe also romance, enemies to lovers. We are following, what's her name? Eliza. Wait, it's blurred by Stephanie Garber? Cool. But anyway, we follow Eliza, who is not necessarily the most well-liked person in her school, but she is in the running to become, is it one of those like presidents of something? Oh, editor-in-chief of her high school paper. However, the ex-jock, Len, decides that he also wants to be in the running for this position. So the two of them have to compete against each other. And Eliza is not all for that, so she ends up writing an essay which basically riles up the whole school, and to kind of try to calm everyone down again, the two of them are forced to work together in some way. So it's a bit like we're competing, but also we're working together. We don't like each other, but also we're forced to work together. And I love those kind of stories. I already told you, enemies to lovers. It's my jam. I can't help it. Don't know when I'll get around to reading this though, but okay, I'm gonna be real with you. When I bought this before I read the synopsis, yeah, I bought this before I read the synopsis. I just knew that it was enemies to lovers, a contemporary romance, and that the cover was freaking stunning because I love the style. It's so gorgeous. So yeah, aren't we all guilty of like cover shopping now and then? Aren't we? It's not just me, right? Next up, I have another young adult contemporary romance, which is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. And this is about Mateo and Rufus, and they both die at the end. Basically, I think we're in a society where people are told the day they're told on the day they die, they're told like the day before they have to die the next day or something. So these two guys are on a website that is made for people who are gonna die, and they get in contact with each other and kind of have this like bucket list of stuff they want to do before they die, and that's what this book is about. So I've heard this is incredibly touching. I'm looking forward to it. Obviously we got queer rep, so that is a thing. And other than that, it's a young adult contemporary romance. I'm ready to cry, okay? I just want to cry. Please make me cry. Oh, they called it End Day. Oh no, it's an ad that's called Last Friend. Oh no. But yeah, that's basically what it's about. Looking forward to it. Next up, we have another young adult contemporary romance, and that is XOXO by Axio. And in this book, we follow Jenny, who plays the cello. She's kind of like a prodigy. She's really good at it. And she one day meets mysterious Jae Woo, who she comes across, or they get along really well, I think. I think she ends up kind of crushing on him. But anyway, some stuff happens in her family, or Jae Woo kind of has to go back to Korea, so South Korea. So, you know, that sucks. But then one day, something happens in Jenny's family that is causing them to also have to move to Seoul. And when she gets there, she learns that Jae Woo, this mysterious, handsome stranger, is actually a K-pop star who's not allowed to date. So is this forbidden romance? Would you call this forbidden romance? I don't really know, but I love K-pop, so I thought this would be fun. And the cover is so cute. Also, the naked hardback has like full color printing on it, so I'm just gonna show you if I can get the dust jacket off. It looks like this. It has the full cover on the book. and it's so adorable. I love the vibe of this. I'm probably gonna read this in my 24-hour readathon that I'm recording this weekend. So looking forward to it, but it's just, yes, a young adult contemporary romance with K-pop. So yes, we love it. Then we have adult romances. I think the rest are adult. Yes. The first one is the Quiz Quotient. The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang, where we follow Stella, who is a very successful woman, rich as well. I believe she's rich. I think she's doing very well for herself. She also happens to have Asperger's, which means that she is very good at like work and information, but not so good at social interactions. And her mom is kind of pushing her to settle down finally. So to get her mom off her back, she decides to hire male escort Michael, who is kind of struggling money-wise. She basically hires him to be her fake date, and while Michael has a very strict no repeat policy when it comes to customers, he's kind of tempted to maybe overlook that policy a bit for Stella. So it sounds fun. I love the representation in this as well. I'm looking forward to reading from her point of view quite a lot, and I've heard that apparently the smut in this is quite good, like it's quite steamy, so that was the thing that I've learned. I'm just looking forward to this quite a lot. The Kiss Quotient, also because I've heard so many good things about it. Like, yes, but it's an adult contemporary romance, straight up. Super cute colors. I'm on the lookout for a specifically orange adult romance contemporary. If you got one, let me know. Don't ask questions why. It just has to be orange, okay? Yes, orange and purple specifically. Don't ask me why. just go with it. If you know any, let me know. Then we have The Heart Principle by, oh, I forgot to say, this is also Helen Huang's debut, which I did not know. These are in the same series. They're companion novels. There's a book in between that's called The Bride Test that I don't own. Kind of want it, but I don't have it. But they're in the same series, they're just companion novels. So some of the characters might be the same, but you can read them separately from each other. But in this one, The Heart Principle, also by Helen Huang, and this is the Illuminate version, by the way, that I got in my Afterlight subscription box. We follow Anna, who is, she's a violinist? Whoa, what just happened with that word? Violinist. Yes. She's a hardworking musician who plays the violin. That's much easier to say. She kind of turns into like an overnight sensation because one of her YouTube videos goes viral, and because of the pressure, I think she gets like a creative block or something, and she's basically just overwhelmed trying to live up to this. I might be making up this creative block thing. I don't really know. We'll see. We'll see once I read it. Other than her YouTube success, Anna is also dating a dude who, after 5 years, suddenly wants an open relationship, which Anna is not super positive about. So what Anna does is she basically starts a string of one-night stands. And that is how she meets Kwan, who is over here on his motorcycle. He's probably tattooed or something. Yeah, he's tattooed motorcycle riding Kwan Jiep. Apparently their one-night stand doesn't really turn out that well, neither does their second. Maybe not even the third, but her feelings for Kwan are kind of making up for that. I don't know. I feel like the two are kind of falling for each other. However, unfortunately, there's some tragedies, or just a singular tragedy that happens in Anna's family, and that is causing her whole love thing with Kwan to become difficult. So we'll see how this goes. I sucked at that synopsis, but I'm looking forward to this book. So yes, and sprayed edges, cool, adult contemporary romance. Looking forward to it. Next up, we have Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren, which is about, what's her name? Jez, who has a hard time finding love, basically. She is a single mom. She is having a difficult time finding time for, dating and stuff. But then there's, what do they call it? Genetic Alley, a buzzy new matchmaking company. Okay. That'll basically take your DNA and put it into this soulmate equation and find your perfect match. And as it turns out, she has a 98% compatibility with the owner of this company that I'm pretty sure is, as far as I remember, very grumpy. The two, seemingly personality-wise, don't get along at all. So what's up with this soulmate equation and the 98%? I'm looking forward to this because the whole premise of it sounds so interesting. So yes. This Jez already knows Dr. Pina, who is the owner of the company, and this man is 100% not her soulmate. So I'm looking forward to this. Like slight enemies to lovers, but not really enemies. Maybe just like we don't like each other at all. To lovers. Sounds like Grumpy Sunshine as well, but we'll see. Then we have a book that I've already read, but I needed it as a physical copy because I love it. It's a 5-star read from me, and that is the Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. And in this book we follow our lead girl Catalina, who is from Spain. She basically fled Spain and her family some years ago to New York, I think, or some other big city in the US, where she's making a name for herself. She's doing well, but she's working at an office. I think she's an engineer or something. It's not important, but she's working in an office with this guy by here, whose name is Aaron Blackford. Yes, Aaron. Okay. And the two don't really get along. Like she finds him really, really annoying and just off-putting and kind of at the same time intriguing, I would say. But one day Catalina receives a message from her sister because she got engaged and she is going to be married, and of course Catalina has to be at the wedding. However, Catalina does not want to go to the wedding alone because her whole family is going to be like, oh my gosh, why are you not dating? We feel so sorry for you. And she just does not want to deal with that, so she sets herself on a mission, find a fake date for this wedding, and the only one who's available happens to be Aaron. So, you know, fake dating, enemies to lovers. This is so cliche. Like, I'm not gonna say that this is like a super original plot or anything. It's not, but this is such a good book. I love it. I needed a physical copy of it, so I ended up getting it. Yes, it happened. And then my last book is, everyone knows this book already. It's The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. Yes. I've heard this summarized so many times, but I still don't know how to summarize it myself. So, when a fake relationship between scientists meets the irresistible force of attraction, it throws one woman's carefully calculated theories on love into chaos, which is all we need to know. This is Grumpy Sunshine, and everyone loves it. Literally every person on every platform loves it, so I needed it, even if it has an annoying sticker that says, the TikTok sensation. I still needed it. We're just gonna ignore that it exists, okay? We're just gonna hear, yeah. But The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. And that is the last one. Wait, I forgot to say. Adult contemporary romance, both of these. Yes, also standalone. And this is a debut as well. So this video probably turned out to be an hour long anyway, didn't it? It wasn't supposed to be. I promise the next book haul is going to be a lot shorter. I'm only going to include like between 20 and 30 books, so it'll be shorter. I promise. It's a promise. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this. If you've read any of the book that I've mentioned and you like them, let me know in the comments. And also, if you want to know more about the books, I'll leave links to all of them in the description box as well, so you can go check them out. And that is all I got. I'm gonna go edit my behind off now. So, and also place all these books back in their spots. Oh my gosh, it's gonna take such a long time. It's fine. I enjoyed this. It was fun going through all my new books with you, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. So if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you are new here and you want to hang out and talk about books with everyone in the comments and also myself, consider hitting the subscribe button. But that is all I got for you today, so I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!